Welcome back, and the discussion continues. The federal government may be considering suspending dispensation of funds to the 59 health maintenance organizations which are under the National Health Insurance Scheme.
Now, this follows a series of allegations of mismanagement of more than 350 billion naira. Let's take you back to an investigative hearing into alleged fraud in the scheme by the House of Representatives in June.
It was a fierce session of allegations and counter-allegations by the major actors in the health insurance sector, each blaming the other for the systemic failure in delivering on their mandates.
Healthcare financing in Nigeria that I met is nothing but a huge fraud. It is nothing but subsidy to HMOs, worse than fuel subsidy. Why is it worse? Fuel subsidy, they cash their checks and leave town. HMOs cash their checks and people suffer and die.
We are supposed to be working together. The ES that is seated here is unfortunate. From his first outing with us in August till now, he's not been able to meet with the HMOs on one occasion. I tell you, if there is any issue that needs to be clarified, it's not supposed to be like this.
The federal government, on its part, described the investigative hearing as a step in the right direction. It added that there are inconsistencies in the information available to government.
Access to affordable and good quality healthcare is a key element in actualizing universal health coverage goals in Nigeria. Effort by House Committee to address the challenges faced by Nigerians under the National Health Insurance Scheme is a step in the right direction.
The major financiers and beneficiaries, who are the receiving end, have called for the elimination of middlemen in the scheme.
The funds we are talking about is the funds of Nigerian workers. It is a 10% medical allowance which we have earned, that we have allowed it to be used as seed money to actually fund the scheme. The issue of the HMOs, who to my understanding are intermediaries between the healthcare provider and the end product user, who is the enrollee. And therefore there is the necessity actually to address this issue of middlemen or women.
This hearing arose out of the need to investigate the persistent allegations of poor treatment of enrollees by healthcare providers, with the latter passing the bulk of the blame to the HMOs. At the heart of this is the compliance rate of HMOs and providers to the National Health Insurance contributions and utilization of funds.
The federal government established the National Health Insurance Scheme in May 1999. It kicked off in 2005 with the aim of providing access to adequate and affordable health care to all Nigerians. Sadly, 12 years after its establishment, it's yet to yield desired results.
Wow. All right. That's the foundation to what we're talking about right now. Joining us to discuss this is the Safety Health Manager, Ehi Iden. Ehi, good morning.
Good morning.
It's really nice to have you join us. You look great.
Thank you very much.
All right. Before we start with you on this, let's give some basic information so our people can understand what we are discussing. Now, the scheme we're talking about was established under Act 35 of 1999 Constitution by the federal government of Nigeria and became operational in 2005.
After the official launch of the health scheme in June 2005, it was given a presidential mandate, which was supposed to ensure a universal coverage of all Nigerians by 2015 via the social health insurance. But the NHIS was created to secure universal coverage and access to adequate and affordable health care by improving the health status of Nigerians through various payment systems.
Now, it was also established to attract more resources to the healthcare sector and improve the level of access and utilization of healthcare services. However, the effectiveness of the scheme remains to be seen, with many Nigerians wondering if the scheme is fulfilling the purpose for which it was set up in the first place. So how does the NHS work? This is a big question so many Nigerians still don't even have answers to.
Indeed. Well, the NHIS in its current form has programs for the different population groups. Those in employment have a program. The self-employed have a program as well. Rural community people have a program, and students also have a program. Now, there is a National Health Insurance Fund known as NHIF established to receive contributions for any of the programs.
Now, those in employment contribute 5.25%, let's say 5% of gross pay. The employees pay 1.75%, while employers pay 3.5% of this, totaling about 5.25%.
Well, the NHIS is to provide social health insurance in Nigeria, where healthcare services of contributors are paid from the common pool of funds contributed by the participants of the scheme. Well, participants of the insurance scheme pay a fixed regular amount monthly, based on a pre-arranged agreement between the participant, his employer, and the health maintenance organizations. The funds are pooled, allowing the health maintenance organizations to pay for those needing medical attention at different hospitals.
Now, presently, there are 59 health maintenance organizations called HMOs in Nigeria. Now, the contributions paid by employee cover healthcare benefits for a spouse and 4 biological children below the age of 18 years.
Many African countries like Kenya, Ghana, and even Rwanda, who have smaller populations than Nigeria, have successfully achieved about 50% health coverage for their citizens. However, Nigeria, with its huge resources, has one of the worst figures on universal coverage in the world. A country of more than 180 million people, after more than 10 years, has not gone above 5% coverage of Nigerians.
Wow.
Wow,
Okay.
indeed. Is that demoralizing or what?
Well, I think that's very mind-blowing when you make comparison with some of these African countries that have been very successful with this scheme, and Nigeria was still struggling. The one we have since 2005 has not been able to work. But let's push everything to Ehi in the studio now. You are in that area, so you understand what the thing is. But in the recent issues in the last 1 month between the presidency and the House of Rep, and NHIS and HMOs, what is really going on? Is this about fraud? Is this about blackmail? Is this about what? Victimization of politics?
Well, when I was listening and watching the figures being read out, I was asking myself, am I sure I'm the right person to discuss this? Because it's becoming mind-boggling. But I think this is really unfair to our country. And it's much more unfair because it's a rape done to the system by same Nigerians. I remember when the NHI was set up and its mandates were clear and everybody had hope that, this would just be it. It came into the main healthcare stream where people were getting worried about direct retainership and where they can actually have their funds regulated and managed. And everybody thought that this was the hope. But I think when they came in, it didn't take up to a year to predict what could happen, what was going to happen to NHIS, because they didn't. Not NHIS, in the health insurance as a whole, because they didn't come in with an honest strategy. And how did that happen? One of the things they came up with was they collect money. The HMO collect money in advance from NHIS. For the first 9 years of my life, I managed hospitals, so they cut me right there at the hospital. So they collect money in advance from NHIS. At that time, as far back as 2002, they pay you 300 naira as capitation per person. So the question is, how will a person who has malaria or any form of ailment be treated with 300 naira? They tell you it's a matter of utilization. We pull it up together, it comes to S and S sum. But when you really want to do your practice of medicine in line with evidence-based medicine principles as a hospital, you liquidate all that is paid to you in just about 4 or 5 patients that come to your hospital. So it became a problem. The real game for NHIS was to ensure that the HMOs and NHIS, they cushion the risk, or the healthcare risk of the patient. But what we have today is that they shift themselves away from the risk, and the risk falls back to the patient. I like the analysis you put in. You put in NHIS, you put in the HMO, you put in the hospital. But we can't isolate the patient from this because they are the ones who are the major risk bearers at this time. And it's becoming a problem where you have hospitals even are being compelled to withhold services, but this is also against the Hippocratic oath that were taken by medical professionals.
Let's quickly do a quick comparison, especially using Rwanda as an example. It has a health insurance scheme known as Mutual Sante, and it works in a way that the poorer the citizen, the lower the amount of insurance scheme to be paid in a year. In fact, the amount they pay yearly is cheaper than the cost of transportation monthly. The government pays 90% of the insurance scheme for the people. So the richer you are, you pay higher. And then you can go to any highbrow hospital in any state there, any province there, and then you see poor people getting access to free health care. And it's even a model now for UK and some foreign countries. But then coming back to Nigeria, the minister just said, Isaac Adewale said that the federal government of the country pays just 1,500 naira on each citizen annually for health care. Is that good enough?
Let me take it from this point. You know, we are quick to adopt what we see happen in foreign countries. When we adopt them wrongly. And that was what we actually did NHIS. The question is, were we really right for health insurance in this country as at that point? That's a question that we haven't answered. Because you made mention of Rwanda. You know, that's a government that puts its people in utmost priority. But the government we have right here doesn't have that kind of mindset or strategy for its people. Because even in the UK you mentioned, UK actually, they pay for NHS from tax they collect. Do you understand? But here we collect money from our employees, and even to remit these funds to treat them is a problem. Last week I was having a meeting with South African in one of the hotels in Ikoyi, and he made mention of something that got me really scared. That the worst thing that Nigeria ever gets is the healthcare sector. That he went to a hospital and saw people lined up and calls were being made for approval whether they can be treated or not. I mean, I don't understand how this works.
I saw that firsthand too.
I don't understand how this works. A man is sick. A man will not have any need to be in the hospital if he's not sick.
If he's not sick, exactly.
So here you have a man that is blissfully ill. Here he wants to access treatment. Then he has to wait for retinue of calls. I mean,
so
I think that's why you're saying the minister talking about the middlemen should be removed. Because the NHIS boss actually said that that's a cabal. Actually look at what we had in the oil subsidy. They have to actually take them out, because if you look at the chain, NHIS, the HMO, the hospital, the patient, the chain is too long. So before the care really gets to the patient, it's a problem, it's compromised. So this is what we're talking about.
All right, now it seemed like from the report we heard, it seemed like the executive secretary of the NHIS is trying to sanitize the system. From the report we played there, he said he's a fraud, he met a rot in the system and all of that. But on the other hand, if you flip it, it seemed like there are also allegations of corruption and fraud against him. So, and then he's been suspended by the Minister of Health.
And he's even telling the minister that he doesn't have the power to suspend him.
So in all of this, where do we stand with these issues?
That was a total shock to me when I saw that news in the first place, because the last meeting I think I saw them have with the National Assembly, they were really syncing properly. And about a week or two after, there was a flip where they were not against themselves. I didn't know what really happened. But I think I'm not holding brief for him, but what has always happened in this country, when you fight corruption fights you back. And this is going to be far from what is going on right now. He may have had his own issues, but not just him. It didn't start with him. I want a situation whereby they actually bring back those who headed this scheme from the point of inception. If the claims are there that S and S amount has been paid out, if funds were paid out and you can't trace how they were utilized, then it's a problem. Because the transparent system that we're looking at right here is that if you paid out S and S fund to the HMOs from there, the fund transcend to the hospitals. Let's look at what was paid out and what they paid out.
But would it be right to suspend the NHIS scheme as it is right now, pending when something better can come up?
My own kind of opinion, if we're not getting it right,
we're obviously not getting it right.
If we're not getting it right, let's put it on hold. I'm not saying that is the end of NHIS. Let's come up with a better system that we feel can fit into our own system.
A lot of money has gone into it. Yeah, about 351 billion
people have
naira.
seen it as a source of daily bread. I mean, look at the guy that went to buy land for NHIS.
Yes.
I mean, and I mean, we have almost about 391 million naira is. Come on.
All right, yeah, looking at the way the NHIS drama is going on right now, makes you want to even look at the budget for health, the health sector in Nigeria. Now, the continental coverage is supposed to be about 15% in a budget, but last year was about 3.73%, and this year is just about 4%. So is it that the government wishes to heal Nigerians with the wand, or just not giving too much attention, adequate attention rather, to health care?
This will take us back to the issue brought up, I mean, between Rwanda and Nigeria. You can see how the government of Rwanda, how they actually took care of the lives of its people. Why we have such budget coming into the healthcare sector, because we have not also been able to actually place a high priority on the health of Nigerians. And that's why we find out that the coverage is so poor, because it's what you give in that you take out. And you find out that people actually, the sick, the healthcare sector, they are not well funded. You're talking about the HMOs right now. The question I asked amongst this whole debate was, you're talking about NHIS, but NHIS, the HMOs, and even government, the HMOs, they don't own hospitals. Where the patient end up mostly are the hospitals. And these hospitals are not funded because government hasn't made funds available for these people to be catered for. So you find out that you bring out the fund to HMO, it gets to the hospital, but they still cannot get a safe place to actually access safe care. So you have compromised medical treatment, you have medical errors, you have adverse events. So in all, it's not just to, for me, it's not just to start arguing about should NHIS remain, should HMO leave. Let's look at the health system as a holistic body, and let's see how we can fix the rot that exists therein. It's not just the HMO. Let's fix the hospitals. Okay. Government have their own, they have more private hospitals right now, but let's try and make, like you said, make funds available to ensure that all that is needed to give adequate healthcare, safe healthcare to Nigerians, they are available. Okay. That is the cross.
Ultimately, it's all about the people.
It's all about the people.
All right. Thank you very much, Ehi Iden,
Iden,
Safety Health Manager, for coming on the program.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you.